Alright, all. YouTube says I'm live, so I must be live. Welcome in. This is Hanging with Dave, episode 63. If you couldn't tell by the title, we have a little bit of difference going on this week. It's pretty well, usually this is just me talking about the Q&A and whatnot, which we will be doing as well. But in the midst of everything, the comments wasn't very much this week like last week, so we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to talk about a few things that happening in the PC world and kind of give you my opinions on them and whatnot. We're going to talk about AMD versus Intel, and we're going to talk about GPU prices and maybe some better options to get around paying these scalpers and the inflated prices that are going on with GPU. I do have an idea on how to get around them. But we'll see what you guys think about that. And then we will go down through the comments and the questions and the concerns that was left on the videos. And of course I'll take anything and everything that comes in through chat. So there is that. Then we'll get into what's coming up on the channel and whatnot, how the channel's done for the past week or so. Just like always, we'll get into that. We'll get into all that as well. But to start out, like every weekend, I'm going to be throwing my disclaimers out there. I know you guys have heard them before, and you're probably going to hear them quite a few more times. I don't plan on stopping with them. Number one, this is my day off, so I do enjoy me a cold Budweiser, an alcoholic beverage here while I do the show, so cheers to y'all. Hope the weekend's treating you well and you're doing good on this Saturday. Hope you're all being safe out there with everything going on. The other ones is I am a truck driver by trade, so you may hear a foul language or a dirty word from time to time. I try to keep them to a minimum, but it does happen. So just kind of keep that in mind. If the drinking or the language offends you too bad, maybe this ain't the right stream for you. Don't mean to sound like a real butthole when I say it that way, but it is what it is. So just kind of keep that in mind. When it comes to names, especially these YouTube handles, I ain't very good with the English language, let alone some of these YouTube handles. So when we get into the Q&A part of it, if I butcher your names too bad, I apologize up front. You either be mad at me for a very long time or you'll get over it one way or the other. It is what it is. I am who I am. So there is that. When it comes to overclocking questions, I haven't really looked to see if I had any, but when it comes to overclocking questions and whatnot, you got, people say, I got these components, I got these certain components and whatnot, and the fun of overclocking is to see what you can get out of your components. Ain't necessarily for someone to sit there and tell you exactly what numbers to type in, but I'll try to help you the best that I can on them, and even if I had the same exact components that you got, they're going to overclock differently, which I've said it every video that I've put out or every live stream I put out, I think. That there is such thing as a silicon lottery. Your CPU may overclock better than mine. Yours may not overclock as well as what mine does. It's just the fun and enjoyment of overclocking. Who we got here? Someone's joined me in. Fanboy Gaming 69. What's up, Dave? Have you seen the Jackie Kondo tweet about HPG mesh shading? No, I haven't. I'm on Twitter, but I really don't pay much attention to Twitter. But no, I didn't hear nothing about that, bud. Sorry, but appreciate you being here with me this morning. Maybe I'll look into it here after the live stream or something. But no, I don't know much about that going on. Like the title says, we're going to be looking at Intel and AMD today because it's a little bit different scenario. We're going to be going over into GPU pricing. Going to kind of give my ideas and my comments and my concerns about that. which has been going on for quite some time. And I really haven't put out a video about the pricing and whatnot on them or anything like that. Just kind of sat back and watched. But today, I'm going to mix it up a little bit on the live stream. We're going to look at the AMD versus Intel and what the difference is and the pricing schemes right now. Right now, everything's hard to find. GPU prices is outrageous. We're going to be kind of diving into that. We're going to get into the Q&A. We'll go over what's coming up on the channel and whatnot, how the channel did it there towards the end. But I would like to talk about the AMD and Intel and the GPU pricing up front. Now, that way people see it in the future, they don't have to sit through the Q&A and all that to get to the information they're actually looking for. So we're going to jump over here. I'm going to switch over here and we're going to get into this AMD and Intel. Kind of give my opinions and thoughts on it. And I actually had I was a little surprised this morning when I actually pulled the links up here. But there we go. Flip you. Well, I guess we'll talk about this a little bit before I flip you over here. On most budgets, most people that's on a budget looking to get into gaming, they're looking at a 4-core, 8-thread processor right now. That's about the cheapest you can get away with for any kind of gaming application. So we're going to talk about them. And of course, you have the 6-core, 12-thread processor, which is a great little gaming and streaming processor chip, which is another good budget option. If you can't afford the 8-core or 10-core processors, the more budget entry level stuff is the 4-core 8-thread or the 6-core 12-thread. So I kind of pulled up some prices here on Newegg. We have the Intel i3 10100. We're going to be comparing it to the Ryzen 3100. And I also pulled up the Ryzen 5 3600. And I'm going to go against the the Intel i5 10600KF. These chips is fairly close in the same gigahertz in the same speed realm. Everybody knows right now AMD's got the better IGP, the IPC, and the better multi-threading processing cores and this and that. The table's kind of flipped between Intel and AMD. I mentioned last week we was talking about the B460 DS3H motherboard. I said you're paying an Intel tax on that. Well, it seems like that's kind of flipped, and now if you want AMD, that's what you're going to be paying the AMD tax on, not the Intel tax. And what I mean by that, we'll flip you over here and look at these processors I'm talking about. Here we go. We're looking at the Intel i3 10100K, which is a Comet Lake quad-core processor. It runs 3.6 gigahertz out of the box. It does have integrated graphics to it, of course. It's going for $115. Get out here and look at the specs of it. And it is a 4-core 8-thread, quad-core with hyper-threading. So it does have 8 cores to it. You look at the speeds, base frequency is 3.6, boosts up to 4.3, which that is single core. And it don't boost up quite as far or quite as long as what AMD's boost frequencies do. But right now you can actually get this chip for $115. To me, that ain't too bad for a 4-core 8-thread processor. Now you compare that to the Ryzen 3 3100, which is also quad-core. Base clock is 3.6. Okay, it's also 4-core 8-thread processor. It does 3.6. It boosts up to 3.9. It's a little bit slower than what the Intel chip does. The Intel chip boosts up to 4.30 gigahertz. But Ryzen will hold that 3.9 more often than what the Intel gives you. But what gets me, and why I say there's an AMD tax, right there you can buy it right now for $177. Compared to the $114 or $115 you can get the i3 for. And like I said, the IPC is better on AMD than it is Intel. But if you're looking to build a budget system, as long as you can get a decent motherboard, I think you'd be saving quite a bit of money by going with the Intel option over the AMD option. Usually you can't find the 3100 even in stock. That's why you're paying what I'm calling the AMD tax right now. You know, because you're paying $177. This thing was released at $100. Which this ain't through Newegg themselves. It's actually going through Idea Buy. But, you know, if you're looking for a quad-core processor, maybe you ought to consider the Intel option over the AMD. It is available. It's available for what's supposed to be the retail price over the Ryzen 3 3100. And me personally, I've owned one of these chips, and I wouldn't pay $177 for a Ryzen 3 3100. MT Coiner, rock on, my friend. I've been stacking GPUs for mining lately, making an extra $30 a day currently. GPU market is wrecked. Yeah, GPU is wrecked right now. I appreciate the chat, appreciate the support. Thank you. GPU market is wrecked right now, which we're going to get into that here in a few minutes. Right now I'm talking about the processors and kind of putting Intel and AMD head to head here and kind of my thoughts on it. GPU market, if you don't have to have a GPU right now, I wouldn't be buying a GPU. Same thing for CPU, but it's kind of hard to, you know, recommend building a gaming computer right now because of it. But that's kind of my opinion on the Ryzen 3100 compared to the i3 10100. You know, if you're looking to get into gaming, you know, that $115 for the i3 for 4 cores, 8 threads, is going to give you a lot better deal. Like I said, you know, they do boost a little bit differently. You know, AMD is on top right now with the IPC and everything like that, the multi-core processing. But you're definitely paying an AMD tax for it. Like I said, that processor is supposed to be $100, or a little less than $100. And the next chip we're going to look at kind of makes this one not worth that $178 that you're paying for it, or $177 you're paying for it. Next we got, I'm going to be looking at the Intel i5, the 10600KF 6-core processor, 4.1 gigahertz. It's going for about $211. And again, this one does have 6 cores, 12 threads, operating right out of the box at 4.1. It does boost up to 4.8, which, keep in mind, it's Intel. It will hit 4.8, but it don't hold it quite as long as what AMD does. And we're going to be going up against, of course, the Ryzen 5 3600 6-core, 12-thread processor on 3.6 gigahertz. Which kind of surprised me that this one here was even in stock, because most of the time this one ain't in stock. But 6-core, 12-thread processor, it boosts up to 4.2 gigahertz. You know, and a lot of people say that, you know, these are competitors to each other. Kind of surprised me that 3600 is actually in stock, and it's actually in stock for the price that it's supposed to be at, which is $200. That was the MRSP on this processor, or the MSRP. And it's supposed to be selling for $200, and it's actually, you're able to actually buy it today for $200. If you're looking to buy a 3600, you better grab them, because they do go out of stock fairly quickly. MT Corner also snatched a Ryzen 1500X for $90 on Facebook Classifieds. That's a pretty good deal on 1500X for $90. That ain't bad. With the way the prices is right now, that's a pretty good deal. I was actually looking through Facebook Marketplace here locally, and of course I live in a college town, or outside of a college town, and or I can't find really anything that's worth even looking at. But yeah, that's a pretty good deal for a 1500X for $90. That ain't too bad. Apparently whoever's selling it didn't realize what they was actually holding on to. But you know, if you're in the market for an AMD 3600, better grab them while they last because they don't last long. Like I said this morning when I pulled this up, it actually surprised me they had to add to cart, not the auto notify, because these things do sell out so quickly. So if you're looking for a 6-core 12 thread, especially right now this morning, I would definitely go with the 3600 over the Intel option with the 10600KF. But usually these things are usually more in stock, more available. You know, it's very seldom that they're ever sold out of the Intel chips. But if you're looking for the 4-core processors, you know, and that's another thing with the 3100. 3100 is going for $177. Whenever you can get the 3600 for $200. You know, that kind of defeats the purpose of buying the 3100 if you can get the 3600 for $200. Not sure if it actually works yet or not. Well, I hope you didn't get screwed over on that deal. That's the other thing about buying components used on the market when you can't test them. You know, you take a chance of doing that. Hopefully, you still have contact information if it ain't working right for you, and if he'll even actually answer you back whoever you bought it off of. I've had that happen to me several times before, buying locally and whatnot. You know, buying components that I couldn't test. And CPUs is one of them things that very seldom do they ever go bad, or very seldom do you ever get a hold of a bad one, but it does happen from time to time. It's, you know, it's kind of a chance you take. Luckily I built my main PC before prices went up. My 5600 XT is worth a fortune right now. Yeah, they are. And if you got 5600 when they first launched, 5600 XT when they first launched, I think you got a pretty good deal. Which is another thing I'm gonna get into, is the pricing of the GPUs and the CPUs. You know, I don't see them coming down anytime soon. I don't think they're going to ever be able to match the demand for them, especially when it comes to the GPUs. They're just, you know, even the manufacturers that create, that actually make the products is charging more for them than what they should be. You know, they're going above the what the manufacturer says they're supposed to be selling at. Which leads me into my next topic, you know, the GPU pricing and what's going on with it. Sebastian, Dave, glad to see you. Live and doing good. I'm at work right now. Just wanted to swing by and tell you that I like your videos. Keep up the good work, my friend. Well, thank you, Sebastian. I hope you don't get in trouble if you get caught stopping by and saying hi to me. I appreciate the support and appreciate you stopping in and saying morning to me. I'm glad you enjoy my content, and I keep on going. I hope over time my videos actually get better than what they are now. But thanks for taking a chance of getting fired or stopping in and saying hi to me. Appreciate that. It means a lot to me. So if you're looking for a 4-core 8-thread processor, I want to say probably go with Intel. Because the 3100 just ain't really worth that $177. And for another $22, you can get the Ryzen 3600, which makes it a lot better deal. But if you, here in a day or so, when the 3600 ain't going to be available for $200, I would definitely consider the i5 10600KF as the alternative to it. Like I said, Intel's usually more in stock right now. As long as you can find the motherboard to go along with them. But Intel's usually a little bit more available in stock. MT Corner agreed. I think Ethereum is going to keep rallying and stay strong through the summer. GPU mining is likely to stay relative for quite a while. Yeah, the mining craze, I don't think it's going any place for a while. Which is one of the big reasons why the GPU prices are so outrageous. You know, the GPU pricing it's totally outrageous right now. Which I'm going to get into it here, and I'm going to jump over here, and we're going to get into that now. And I'm looking at the 3070 with what I've got pulled up here. 3070 is supposed to be releasing for, selling for $500 for a 3070. And I don't know, in my opinion, you're paying $1,000 or better for a graphics card. That should be for $500, with the way the mining is right now. Everything else that's going on in the world, the manufacturing of the products that goes into making GPUs and whatnot. And even on Newegg, where they at? There, we'll start out with this one. As far as GPU prices go, now this is 3070. It's supposed to be a $500 card, and even if they do come back in stock, you're looking at $800. That's $700. Now the aftermarket, the AIOs or the aftermarket board partners, they usually charge $100 or so premium for their cards. But you're looking at $300 increase even from MSI. Zotac going for $700. That should be, Zotac's usually a more budget option. So for them to go $700 on a $500 graphics card, some of these combo deals, if you're needing a RAM or motherboard or power supply to go along with it, they may be worth it. But most generally, I try to stay away from the combo deals unless you're actually looking for that other component anyways, and it's something decent. But for the 3070, it's supposed to be a $500 graphics card. And by looking at Newegg here, they're coming in at $739, $800. Just for the graphics card, $709. It's supposed to be a $500 graphics card. So, even the manufacturer of the graphics card is jacking up the prices. There's one for $629 if it ever comes back in stock. PMY, they're usually more of a budget option. They're wanting $679 for one if they ever come back in stock. There's the Asus Dual, $600. That ain't bad. It's about $100 over what the markup should be. That's probably about right around where most of the add-in board partners should be selling the cards at, about $600. And these $700, $800 price tags you're seeing, and these is from the manufacturers themselves that's setting these kind of prices for it. There's a Gigabyte 3070 going for $569. That ain't too bad if it ever comes back in stock. Okay, that's enough out of stock, David. Let's get into what's actually you can buy, which is kind of interesting. This one right here kind of caught my eye this morning on eBay. You can actually see where I've actually clicked into it here. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 Founders Edition JPEG image, $630. When I first seen the JPEG image, I thought maybe it was just because they stole the picture of the card off the internet or something. But no, the actual listing, if you actually read down through the description over here, $630. And people, it's got 11 bids on this. So people's actually bidding on this. You scroll on down here. This listing is for a printed picture of the NVIDIA RTX 3070. This picture that will be shipped is the listing photo. The pricing picture will be shipped in an envelope to the lucky winner. Do not, and I repeat, do not buy this for you're a legit buyer looking for an actual RTX 3070. So basically they want $600 for a JPEG, which is just a picture, of the RTX 3070. That is just craziness. And that's just showing you how bad what people will go through to make money. But you look down through some of these actual listings here, and you're looking at 3070s going for over $1,000. There's $1,000 if you buy it now. Good Lord, be careful out there, folks. Yeah, you're right. And a lot of these ones that I've clicked into earlier this morning, well, he's got 190 feedback with 100% positive, so that's probably legit. A lot of these people that's selling these cards, 2 responses with 100 feet, that'd be questionable. You know, a lot of them's got, you know, no feedback. Like this one right here, no feedback, no positive feedback, no nothing. You know, those the kind of people you really want to watch out for today. Because you know they're scalping them. You know, and you're looking at $1,000 or better for a graphics card. And I don't know who really needs one of these graphics cards that bad. You know, $1,049. Now you're looking at 2080 Ti performance. You can get a brand new 2080 Ti for $1,500. You're paying over $1,000, $1,200, $1,300 for a 3070. Which, you know, the Founders Editions, I don't know why there's so many Founders Editions. But, you know, the prices is out right there you go, $1,134.99. That is a For the Win card, I think. No, yeah, For the Win Ultra Gaming card. So if you're in the market to buy one of these, I would definitely watch who you buy it from. Make sure they got some feedback and some decent amounts of feedback. And, you know, definitely read the descriptions of them. Which this one here seems to be pretty legit. But there's a lot of people out there trying to sell you stuff that really ain't really there. There's one for $1,100. What's that say? Array 6405. Must be just a photo just to verify that he's actually got it in hand, I guess. But, you know, still yet you're paying $1,100 for a graphics card. You're paying $1,200 for a graphics card for a 3070. You know, if you can get them for this $800, if they don't get bid it up too high, yeah, you know, you're getting 2080 Ti performance, which was $1,500 last generation. Now you're getting them for $810. That ain't too bad. You know, $600 what you pay for a 2080 Ti if you buy a new one. You know, 24 bids, $591. You know, 4 days left on it. Within 4 days, you come back and look, and I guarantee you ain't gonna get it for that price. Let's go down here. Let's go up here and best match ending soonest. Let's see what kind of prices they're going for. 10 bids going for almost $1,000. 14 bids, it's $1,000 even. 2 hours left for $950. $1,000. 2 hours left, no bids on it. $970. 17 bids on it. And that's another thing you gotta look out for is that shipping. You know, this one right here is $1,000, but for to have it shipped to my address, it cost me about $25 in shipping. So you're looking at $1,028 plus, you know, along with the shipping on top of the price you're paying for it. And these things are just, I mean, you know, it's getting stupid. It's because of the mining, you know, $1,225, which that is an OC white edition, special edition, you know. But still, yet you're looking at $23 shipping on it. You know, if you're going to do that, hell, go buy you a brand new 2080 Ti. It's about the same thing. You know, at that point. There's one for $925. You know, $1,050. You know, I mean, they're just nuts. $1,100. $915 with 6 hours left on it with 12 bids. You know, and the bad thing is I don't see the prices coming down on these GPUs. I really don't. NVIDIA's realized that they can get this kind of price out of these GPUs. You know, don't buy from these scalpers. You know, I showed you on Newegg that when they do come back in stock, that you know, that they will be. That they're, you know, you're still looking at $1,000 or better for the graphics card, or close to it. You know, $800-900 for the graphics card itself. So if you're really needing to get a GPU or you're needing to build a computer right now, and this goes against the channel, there's another thing with it too. Over here on Amazon, MSI 3070, and this is Prime. If it's Prime, it is sold. It is housed and sold by Amazon for $1,329. There's another one that's prime, which means Amazon's got it in the warehouse for $1,300. You know, they're just nuts. Available by other sellers. Look, if you know they're going over $1,000 new. If you're going to buy something off of eBay, you might as well go through Amazon and order your brand new one for $1,100-$1,200, $4,000 to $1,200. But, and this kind of goes against the channel. You know, I always tell you to build your own gaming computer. You know, number one, it's a good experience for you. Number two, if something goes wrong in the future, you know, you kind of know where to look at to get the problem resolved. You don't have to depend on a company. You know, I really stand behind you ought to be building your own computer. But if you're going to pay $1,000, $1,200, $1,300 just for a 3070, how about this for you? We got a 3070 RTX with the Intel i7 10700F for $1,600. Couple more $100. What is that? About $500 more? You can get you a complete system. And that comes with case, power supply, CPU, cooling, the whole 9 yards for, you know, $300, $400, $500 more. You know, if you're looking at some of them $1,200 cards, that's only an extra $400. You know, so definitely don't buy into these scalpers. You know, they're paying, you know, they want you to pay $1,200 just for a graphics card. We can get the complete system with the same graphics card in them for $1,600. You know, it's just nuts. But that's one way to get around. For some reason, if you just have to have one of these new video cards, which I thought about buying one of these pre-built systems and getting in the studio just to have some content for the channel. Because I would like to have one of them 3070s, but I'm not paying them scalper prices. And like I showed you, you know, them cards going $1,200, $1,300. You might as well throw another $300, $400 and get you a pre-built. At least you get a whole computer that way. You know, you're getting the Windows 10 license key, you're getting the CPU, the cooler, the case, the power supply. Now, grant you, the motherboard is usually cut back on these things. Power supplies really shouldn't be trusted. But still yet, you know, if you're going to pay $1,300 for a graphics card alone, you can buy your whole system for $1,600. To me, that don't sound like too bad of a deal. I was actually looking on NZXT build program. But they don't even seem that it don't even look like on their site they even got 3070s available. Let's see here. They do have 3060s. They do have 3060 Ti's. Which that's what this computer came with, was the 3060 Ti. The only other alternative they got is the 3090, and that's an extra $1,400 to have that RTX 3090 put in compared to what they originally had, which was the 3060 Ti. Even NZXT can't even get these 3070s. I mean, I guess, you know, sooner or later you have to bite the bullet. And if you really want one, you're going to pay the price for it. There you get the AMD 3600 instead of the Intel version. A little bit cheaper, $1,548. But that's kind of my take on the Intel and the AMD thing. Also GPU prices, you know, I definitely, if you're going to be spending that kind of money, you're going to be catering to these scalpers out there. You might as well go through Amazon, which has got them available for the 3070 for $1,000 plus, a little over $1,000. Or me personally, I'd throw a couple extra $100 on top of it and buy a pre-built system that's already got one that comes with the graphics card you're wanting. That's kind of the way around paying the scalpers. You know, it's about the only way to beat the scalpers is not to give in and not to buy their highly overpriced stuff. But like I also showed you on Newegg as well, and Amazon, you know, the manufacturer themselves is jacking up the prices on the GPUs. So even if when they do come in stock, or what you can find in stock, you know, you're going to be paying $1,000 or better for the graphics card. You might as well throw another $400 or $500 on top of it, $500-$600, whatever, and buy a whole system. I don't know, you know, I've never really recommended buying a pre-built system, but if you just, for some reason, you just have to have one, you know, I think that'd be the way to go. At least you're getting something for your money. I'm just spinning the markets all day right now. I've got a RX 578 gig for 175, RTX 588 gig Sapphire for 200, and a GTX 1060 6 gig for 225. All net over $3 a day right now for mining. Yeah, I mean, if sounds like you're into the mining aspect of it, which I got the RX 580 laying back there, 5 gig XFX. I got the 5600 XT back here. And, you know, I've heard a couple other YouTubers recommend, you know, if you're looking to buy one of these cards, whatever GPU you're running right now, you know, you get into the mining scene, you know, you can make $1 a day. Okay, within 90 days, you know, you made $900. So you can afford to buy the new graphics card. You know, for $900, you add an extra $100 or so to it. You know, you'd be good to go. But, you know, to me, I don't know. I mean, it is a legit way of making money. I've never got into the mining scene. But, you know, that would be a way to get the card at discounted prices to get into mining for, you know, 3 months, 4 months, you know, and you could make enough off the mining to be able to buy the graphics card. You know, that is one thing that, you know, that's one avenue you could look at on it. I've tried GPU mining once, and even got 2 cents from it. Yeah, I guess it all depends on the luck of the draw. I've heard people, I mean, like I said, I've never tried the mining. I've never put my system through that kind of stuff. Or I've never put a form together to try to do any mining on it. But I've heard people say that they can make up to $1 a day on a single GPU. I don't know how true it is. I don't know, I guess it depends on your GPU and how fast it can process it. I'm not even really sure how the mining thing even works, really. But the bad thing is, you know, you put all this money into graphics cards and stuff to do the mining with, and, you know, you start making a little bit of money and all of a sudden the bottom falls out. You know, you possibly sell the cards and get your money back out of the cards. But once the mining craze is over with, the market's going to be flooded with them. I don't think the mining's going any place for a while. I don't see, you know, I don't see them being able to keep up with the demand on the graphics card coming back into stock. I don't think we'll ever see the prices come back down to what they say they should be. It was a nice little, gesture that they said these cards should be $500, but, you know, that was at launch, you know, and we haven't seen them kind of prices since. There's too much demand for them, and people's willing to pay too much for it. It was shown that it is making around $1 or $2 a day. Yeah, it was showing that it was making around $1 or $2 a day, but you only got 2 cents from it. That's kind of messed up. Of course, I guess it's just like stock trading. You know, you have to sell when the prices is up compared to when they're down. I guess, I don't know. Like I said, I've never really looked into it a whole lot, but, you know, I guess it'd be like a stock trade, wouldn't it? It'd be, you know, depending on when you sell, how much money you'd actually make off of it. I'm assuming. You know, maybe the guys I was watching and got the info from was wrong, but they saying they was making about $1 a day off of it, off of a single GPU. That ain't something I'm too knowledgeable on, is the mining. I mean, I know it's a thing. I know it's affecting the GPU prices like crazy right now. But that's about it for the AMD versus Intel, the GPU pricing. That's kind of my thoughts and my recommendations right now. You know, if you're going to go with a basic 4-core, 8-thread machine, I'd definitely look at the Intel side of things. If you can find the Ryzen 3600, you want a 6-core, 12-thread processor, I'd go with the 3600. But like I said, they sell out awful quick. So, you know, Intel's got a pretty good solution to that, because most of the time when you look them up, you can put them in the cart and buy them right now. You don't have to wait for them to come back in stock and be luck of the draw to get them. AMD and Intel's kind of flipped roles. AMD is on top as far as performance and everything goes, which there is an added tax to that. Like I said, when I first pulled that up this morning, I was kind of surprised that the 3600 was even in stock and available to purchase just to add to cart. Because usually that thing's usually sold out, and you ain't gonna be able to buy one right off the bat like that. I mean, only for a few minutes, because I couldn't stand the noise and the heat. 4 gig cards, net low numbers. For example, the 5600 XT is making about $5 per day right now. That ain't too bad for a 5600 XT. Well, if I start running my 5600 XT and then I start running my 2070 Super when I'm not gaming, well, I may be able to make a little bit of money. As far as the noise and the heat, yeah, because it does run the GPUs pretty hard. I mean, they run at stock or undervolted, but they do run them pretty hard. So you do have quite a bit of heat and quite a bit of noise that comes from the machines while they're running. I've heard a lot of people actually set them up in an outside building outside the home or something because of the heat and the noise that they create. You know, so yeah, but 5600 XT is making about $5 per day. That ain't too bad. Ain't too bad at all. Maybe I ought to get into mining with my 2070 Super and my 5600 XT, and then I'll put another system together with the RX 588 gig back there, and or maybe throw the 5600 XT and the RX 580 all in one rig and see what I can produce, huh? Maybe $5 a day for a 5600 XT. Man, maybe I quit my full-time job and do YouTube. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I think it'd be nice. I mean, if one 5600 XT is making $5 a day, not too shabby. But anyways, that's going to pretty well wrap it up for the Intel and AMD situation. The graphics card prices. I still say if you have to have one of the new ones bad enough, go buy your pre-built. Which I don't recommend that. You know, I'd rather see you guys build your own computer. There's a lot of benefits to it, but there is some hassles to it as well. But yeah. You know, if you have to have one of the new cards, I throw a couple extra $100 in with what you got to go buy you a pre-built that's already got the video card in it that you want. Which that sounds kind of funny to me, coming out of my mouth telling you to go buy a pre-built. But we're going to flip you over here and we're going to get into these questions and comments that's been left for the past week. Like I said, there ain't a whole lot, about like last week, maybe a few more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looks like we got about 10 questions and comments that was left on the videos this past week. So, I'm going to be flipping you guys over here doing the questions and comments. And then we'll get into what's coming up on the channel and how good the channel's been doing this week and all that good happy stuff. Sorry guys, gotta get readjusted here a little bit. Alright. Like I said at the beginning, you know, if I butcher your names too bad in these comments, questions, or whatnot, you have to either forgive me or you'll be mad at me for a long time, one way or the other. Right off the bat here, I ain't seen nothing about overclocking. So I don't have to worry too much about that, which I already put the disclaimer out about that anyways. So let's flip you over here to the desktop. We'll go down through these comments here this week. We have Ryan Sedana on last week's live stream. What do you think about the RX 570? I need a graphics card, and that is the only one that seems to be selling on eBay for a decent price. I am thinking about pairing it with a Ryzen 5 3600. Also, I am thinking about getting a ASRock B550 Phantom Game 4. Would you recommend any other motherboard for this CPU? As far as the RX 570 goes, it is a generation old now. Is it a 4 gig card? Is it an 8 gig card? Which it does affect the gameplay. You know, if you're looking to, I'm assuming you're looking to build a gaming PC. The RX 570s are alright for low to medium detail on most games at 1080p, depending on your game selection. And if you're playing like Fortnite, CSGO, stuff like that, you know, Rainbow Six Siege, RX 570 would be good. Be decent for 1080p gameplay. Like I said, it depends on the 4 gig or the 5 gig card, or I'm sorry, the 4 gig or the 8 gig version of it, which that GPU, I don't think you can really utilize the whole 8 gigs of VRAM attached to it anyways. But, you know, as long as you can get it for a decent price, depending on what you think a fair price is, for a decent price, you know, and you don't expect a whole lot out of it. You don't expect to play like Cyberpunk 2077 on high details at 1080p or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's a decent little card as long as it will do what you want it to do. I'd recommend looking up some YouTube videos or something on people that's got the RX 570 benchmarks for your particular game that you're looking to play, and see how it performs, see if you'd be happy with playing it at that resolution, at them settings. RX 570 that's a decent card. Thinking about pairing with a Ryzen 5 3600. That's a decent platform. 3600, you know, you can go up quite a bit with that GPU in the future if you want to. You know, I mean, even the 3070 would be alright with the 3600. But if you're running a 3600, also keep in mind 1080p gameplay uses a lot of CPU power. If you get into higher resolutions, you know, if you get a 2070, 3070 in the future or something, it's going to use less of the CPU, throw more into the GPU, which is kind of a good thing. Depending on the resolution you're playing at. I'm also thinking about getting the ASRock B550 Phantom Gaming 4. Would you recommend a motherboard for the CPU? ASRock, I've never had no problems with ASRock motherboards. Let's see, ASRock. Let's take a look, see here. But the Gaming 4 from ASRock, that's usually a pretty good motherboard. That's usually one of the higher end ones. $115 for a $200 CPU. It's got kind of a lackluster I/O on the back of it. Don't have a whole lot of USBs or anything like that. I mean, it'd be good enough to get you up and running. What's that B550 I have? Yo, long time no see. Blueberry Pie 157's in the house. Welcome in, Blueberry. It's been a while since you've been able to join me, buddy. I'm glad you stopped by this weekend. It has been quite a few weeks since you've been in. If you mine with AMD, change a compute mode and Radeon settings, global settings, and you will gain a lot of hash rate, but will need to switch it back to graphics to game. That's good input if you're going to get into mining. I had exams, so yeah, well, that schooling's pretty important, bud. Definitely get that education in you while you're young. Wish I would have. Probably been a lot better off if I would have finished up my education. That ASRock for $115. I mean, it looks like an alright board. That I/O on the back of it's kind of concerning to me. You only have the 3 audio ports, yeah, but you don't have a whole lot of USB connectivity. I mean, if it's just, if you're gonna be just gaming on it, you should be alright with that motherboard. Let's see here. AM4 motherboards. Let's see. You're looking for about $115 price tag, I'm assuming. Where's the price tag at here? Let's go from 100 to 115. Let's see what we end up with here. Try to keep within the price tag of that one. We got the Gigabyte B450 Earth M. We want the B550 chipset, don't we? The one he was looking at was the B550. They don't even have the B550 possible to it. B550. Let's redo that. Where's the price at? Go from $100 to $115. Hit apply. That looks like it's about the only one that's within that price point. Well, this one here's paying $110 for the motherboard. Now that's refurbished. You don't want refurbished. I'd stay away from the refurbished. If the 115 is about your max that you could go, yeah. I ain't seeing much more in the range of it. I have had this Gigabyte DS3H with the B550, which got a little bit better ports on the back, but not a whole lot. It seemed to be a pretty stable motherboard. I've talked to the guy that bought that gaming PC for his son, and it's been holding up well for him. I think he'd be alright with that ASRock B550 Phantom Gaming 4 motherboard. It all depends on what you're going to get into and whatnot, it's pretty questionable. Blueberry Pie is Asus for Vivo Book 14 2020, Intel i3 10th Gen 14. Or just coding or programming. You're asking about a laptop, 10th Gen i3, 14-inch display, thin and lightweight, 4 gigs of RAM. For coding and programming, I'd try to up that RAM up to at least 8 gigs. Because I know programming takes quite a bit, especially when you get into programming and coding. The more RAM, the better. I think you do alright with that. Not too bad. I'm not really a specialist when it comes to laptops. I haven't used a laptop in many years. I've never really had a reason to use a laptop. Let's see here. Is that what you're looking at? No, you're looking for an Intel one. That's got the Ryzen 3 in it. Of course, that's through Walmart. That's a 15-inch. Ryzen 5, Ryzen 7. See what I mean about the AMD taxes? I mean, if you want taxes, you're paying for them anymore. I mean, it wouldn't be too bad. Gaming laptops just run so hot. Yeah, there's a lot of heat that's produced when you're gaming with a gaming laptop. I mean, I think you'd be alright for coding and programming. As far as the programming goes, you know, I'd like to see an 8 gig RAM in it. 256 gig NVMe drive. That's kind of questionable in your storage, depending on how long the programs and whatnot. But it should last you quite a while. I mean, if that's all you're using for is coding and programming, you shouldn't be too bad. And you're looking at what, $500, $400, something like that. I think you'd be all right with that just for coding and programming. I mean, pretty well coding and programming is just a Word document. Gaming laptops run hot. Yeah, they do. Especially when you're gaming with a gaming laptop, they do produce a lot of heat. Of course, you got the GPU producing heat, you got the CPU producing heat, and they are in a small form factor, so, you know, I don't know. Can you recommend a laptop which is about $400? $400 laptop, huh? Let's see here. Laptop. Under $500. Four gigs. Let's see if they got anything for 8 gigs of RAM in it. That would be my biggest thing, would be at RAM capacity. Even when you're just coding and programming, that extra 8 gigs of RAM would do pretty good. Never heard of them. HP, yeah. I really don't like HP. They cost me about $600 for a laptop replacement, on screen replacement one time. I really don't like HP. Acer Aspire for $468. Intel i5 1031G with 8 gigs of RAM, 15.6 Full HD 1080p laptop. 4.4 stars out of 5 with mostly 5-star ratings. Something like that probably wouldn't be too bad. Just that RAM capacity on that would be. The Ryzen 3 laptops have good reviews. Yeah. AMD Athlon, I wouldn't suggest an Athlon. Yeah, like I say, I really don't specialize in laptops. I don't know a whole lot of laptops. So I'm actually the wrong kind of person to be asking about laptops. What kind of reviews does that Asus have on it? There's a 2021. Wow, $650. Wow. They got anything for one price filter? There we go. Under 500. Let's see what they got. Asus Flip Thin $300. Is that what you're looking at, bud? That Flip? 2-in-1 laptop, touch 14-inch. Celeron processor. Now you said it has the i3 in it. Yeah, I really ain't one to be asking about laptops. I'm sorry I can't give you a straight answer, but I'm not one for laptops. It's okay if you can't find one. There's a lot of knockoffs. Yeah, and that's the bad thing about laptops. There's so many knockoffs of them. I mean, Asus is a fairly good laptop from what I know of them. But I'm not much into the laptop scene. Message retracted. I'm sorry, I really can't answer your question about a decent laptop. Like I say, I definitely ain't no laptop expert. Who else do we got here on the hit list for this week? We have Frontal on how to overclock your RAM on the Gigabyte B450M. This is honestly one godly tutorial. I really appreciate the help, man. Well, thank you. Appreciate the comment. If I hadn't said it before I got into the questions comment, I want to send my thanks out to you guys to comment, questions, and shares, and likes, and watching my videos. It means a lot to me. I'm not going to do it in between each comment. It just gets very repetitive. But yeah, I just want to thank y'all for watching the videos and the support you guys send me. I really appreciate it. We have Luke Matala, I guess. How to overclock your Ryzen 5 2400G on the Gigabyte B450M port 3. Thank you. Now I can play Fortnite smoother. I guess it's supposed to be smoother. I'm glad I could help you get that Ryzen 2400G overclocked. I found this one kind of interesting when it came in this week. I actually kind of looked at this case. Wind Train upgrade or rebuild in the Cooler Master Half XB Evo 2019 case. It says, should I use this case or use the Corsair 540 case? Well, I looked this case up. Seems like it's a theme when these they talk a lot about cases here on the live show. But I looked this case up, and cases is a hard thing to send out recommendations for. Cases is so much an aesthetic thing, but there's also, features that's added to them. How many USB ports they got. If you need 5¼ inch bays, fans, But the main thing about a case is the way it looks. I don't know if I can get the half XB even pulled up here or not. I know a few years ago they were still selling them. Let's see here. Computer cases. Corsair. I'm going to kind of compare these two cases to each other, which I do have that half Evo case sitting back there. Last time I actually looked that case up, it was still for sale. It was about a $100 case. But it's very limited in the airflow of it, which with what I had in the system, it seemed to do all right. That ain't gonna work. XB Evo. XB Evo. Huh, no matches for it. That may not even be for sale anymore. Half XB Evo. Maybe they'll find it. Of course not. I'm not even really sure if that's even if it's even for purchase anymore or not. There it is. This one is a little bit cheaper. Oh, I got it all screwed up now, don't I? Fun of live streaming. This one is a little bit cheaper. This is kind of a box tire that kind of sits flat. Well, this one kind of stands upright. This one does have, if I'm not mistaken, I think it has 3 140mm fans in it. That's included. Front's 120 or two 140s, which has 2 140s included. In the rear, it's got a 140 included in the back. When it comes to cases, it's hard to make recommendations for me, because it is mainly a aesthetic thing. You know, it's kind of the way it looks. Which this one here kind of stands upright, with a Cooler Master Evo kind of lays down at the bottom. The main difference is if you need hot swappable bays, this one does have hot swappable bays, which is the half XB Evo. It does have hot swappable bays down here, which is kind of nice depending on your workflow. I use them quite a bit because whenever I get a system in that needs to get data off the hard drive, I just put it in there, slap it in there, and it automatically works just like a USB connector actually would. It's kind of like a built-in USB adapter to 3.5-inch hard drives. And I also plan on using this as a test bed. Which this one here kind of stands up. It does have a plexi side panel to it. If I can find it here. There you go. I think it's plexi on the side panel. I don't think it's glass. Looks like plexi anyways. Tons of expansion. Yeah. What kind of side panel does it got? Full side panel window. I'm gonna say it's plexi. It's gonna be plastic. It's not an actual glass panel. Which is nice if you're gonna put ARGB or whatnot in it. You know, you're gonna be able to see them better within this case than you could the other case. You got more airflow in this case. It does come with 140mm fans. You know, that's why I really don't do case recommendations, because it's more of an aesthetic thing. I mean, it's kind of hard to say if you should go with one or the other, because I don't know your use purpose, the way you're going to use the case, or what kind of workflow you got. Like I said, the other one does have hot swappable bays. This one don't. This one seems to have more cooling in it. It does seem to be more moderate. It does have the window side panel where you can see the ARGB or RGB lights and fans that you're going to put into it, which I'm sure if you're building a new computer, you're going to have the ARGB and RGB lights on it. It looks like this one may have a little bit more expansion for the 2.5-inch drives. You know, they're both kind of a box looking case, but this one here's like a box standing up on its end. Let's see here, external 2.5, 5 1/4 inch base is 2, 3.5 base. Internal drive bays, yeah, you got 4 dedicated 2.5-inch drive bays. So if you're running a lot of SSDs, maybe this would be the case for you. It just all depends on the look you're going for and what kind of expansion or what kind of storage you're using. Of course, that other one is a little bit more expensive. It's kind of hard for me to make a decision on that. I actually had someone come back a couple weeks ago on a comment that I replied to, wanting a suggestion on $100, around $100 US case, and I didn't even answer him back because I'm not too sure on how to answer that. Without knowing what your setup looks like, without knowing, what kind of workflow you got, what kind of components you plan on running it. If you're running hotter components, I'd definitely take the other case over this Evo case. Just because the other one's got the 140 fans included in it, and by looking at this case, it looks like it's more airflow optimized, which is a big thing if you're going to be running hotter components. So, it's kind of hard for me to say. It's got 2 USB 3s, it looks like, headphone, microphone, power reset. Your common layout on the front does have 2 5.25-inch beige drives if you need those. If you're looking for airflow, I'd say this one's going to be better, because the Cooler Master here, it can only fit up 120s in the front. And I think the back, if I'm not mistaken, it's only got a 80mm fan support for the back. Yeah, 80mm. And the front, yeah, the side, it's got 80mm fan times 2. I think you can only fit an 80mm fan in the side of it with 2 120s in the front. Is the best cooling you can get out of the Evo case. So it's kind of, just all depends on how you plan on using it and which one you like the looks of best. I bought mine when I bought the Evo case. I bought it because of them hot swappable bays. Like I said, I did do a lot of hard drives, getting data off of hard drives, which that hot swappable bays in the bottom came in handy. I was planning on using it as an open test bench. That's the main reason why I bought it. But this one looks a little bit more modern. It's got the window, and you got better airflow through it. So I'm not too sure on which way to tell this guy where to spend his money. The other case is a little bit more expensive, but it's also an air case, so depending on the components and his workflow. For the laptop folks, I can recommend the HP Omen. Nice is 2-year-old and has a 9th Gen i7, 1050 4GB and 16 gigs of RAM. Came with 8 gigs. It's a very fast and reliable machine, but they got hot under load. Well, it sounds pretty good. Like I say, I won't recommend HP laptops. They cost me quite a bit of money on laptop replacement, the replacement screen of a laptop. But yeah, I won't get into that story today. Let's see here. Who's next on our hit list here? We have NDJWP 3 days ago. That was on the gaming PC build in the Corsair 4000D Airflow computer case of 2021. I'm thinking about getting that case. You just basically gave me a good review, so thank you so much. You will probably buy soon. By the way, remember me when you get famous. Well, don't know about getting famous. I'm working on that. I'm trying. I'll definitely remember you. You've been around you've been around the channel quite a while. I'll definitely remember you. Yeah, that ain't too bad. Like I said in that video, you know, I was hoping to put my radiator in the top for my all-in-one. Kind of disappointed me. And I was actually thinking about that the other day. If you watch the video, I talk about how the holes ain't quite lining up with the radiator in the front. But I did put my fans behind the radiator as a pull instead of in front as a push. Which if I put them fans in the front of it, it may have set back the radiator far enough behind them cables. It was kind of had a little bit cocked, a little bit offset. The way you probably could have lined them up straight. Because of them holes lining up the way they was on just the radiator, that's why I didn't even try to put the fans in front of. Maybe I'll go back and look at that. But I think if you put your fans in front of that case, in front of the radiator, in the front of the case, I think it'd work out better. And in the description of that case, it tells you need LPX RAM. It's a Corsair thing, you know, low profile RAM. To be able to fit that radiator in the top. And for the price, I mean, it's about $100 case. I'd like to see a little bit better options for radiator mounting on the top of it. But you know, if you read through the description, they do give you the warning that you need LPX RAM. And also that little white piece of plastic that was covered up with back IO shields was also stopping me from putting my radiator in the top. So, you know, there was a couple things with that stopped it. But I think it ended up being a pretty good build after all. Actually, the next one is talking about the radiators report in this case. We have Galala Gaming, I guess the way you pronounce that. It was also in the gaming PC build of the Corsair 4000D Airflow computer case. I was unable to mount my AIO on top either. I like the case, I just wish it had more AIO mounting options. Nice cable management. Well, thank you. I appreciate the nice cable management. Yeah, and like I just said, you know, I wish it had a little bit better options for the mounting of the radiators and whatnot. But it is a mid-tower full ATX case. You know, you don't have a whole lot of room. You know, if you're looking to make sure you can fit that AIO radiator in the top, you know, you need to go with a full-size case instead of a micro ATX full-size case. It'd make a big difference. But even with that radiator in the front, from what I've been able to test on it so far, my temperature is running fine on my CPU and GPU. Even with the configuration I have it in right now. My top of my radiator is sitting a little bit above my pump, so I don't have to worry about my pump getting air bubbles in it or nothing like that. I'm pretty happy with it. I think the way the build ended up looking, I'm pretty happy with. Still haven't came up with a name for it yet. It is mainly a black and white build. Think about Zebra. It is black and white like Zebra, and it is a workhorse. You know, it's got the 3950X with 2070 Super in it. 32 gigs of RAM. You know, it is a workhorse. So I don't know. I still haven't really came up with a name for it yet. I haven't really put a whole lot of thought into the name of it yet, but it's something that's kind of on the back burner in the back of my mind. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good case. Not too bad for the money. Who else do we have here? We have Thordoros, Stan Findus. How to overclock your RAM on the Gigabyte B550M DS3H motherboard. He says, nice tutorial, man. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad I could help you with that. Can you all still hear me? And my voice still coming through, even though I shut off the camera? It looks like it is by what I'm reading. Alright, there we go. Yes, you can still hear me. Cool. Thank you, MT. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Next, we have Chris Hedges. It was on last week's live stream, Q&A, streaming CSGO. Hey Dave, do you drink 12 or 24 rack of Bud before every video? I'm assuming it's supposed to be pack instead of rack. I don't know, maybe he keeps his beer in the rack instead of in a pack. No. Most of the time when I do my videos, I'm tired. I normally do them when I first wake up. Like this morning, you know, my girlfriend left for work. My fiance, she left for work about 3 a.m. About 3:30 a.m. this morning, I started recording video. If I need to, throughout the week, I get up a couple hours early before work to start filming video. So I'm usually pretty tired when I do my videos. The only time I really do any drinking is during my live streams. Either that or on Sundays I may have a beer or two while I'm doing my recording. But normally I'm pretty sober when I do my recordings actually. I don't know, maybe I'll drink more beer when I do my recordings. Maybe it'll help out. But normally when I do my recordings and I do videos, I'm usually stone sober. I'm usually drinking coffee at that time. Like this morning, I was drinking coffee while I was doing this week's video. All the way up to about an hour before the live stream. Maybe an hour and a half before the live stream. Then I cracked my first beer. So that ain't too bad, I guess. Maybe if I'd actually do more drinking, maybe I'd be more comical. Let's see here. Next on the hit list, it comes in from Tim Keys. It's on the Cooler Master Masterbox MB311L Airflow case. Says, thanks so much for the review. I'm buying this case, but before I do, I want to watch a quality review, and I believe this is a quality review. You just gained a new sub. Thanks. Well, thanks for subbing. Welcome to the community. Glad to know I got another sub, and the community grew a little bit more. I try to break down the cases when I do my reviews and kind of cover all the main points of them at least. If not, you know, I mean, I don't know. I've seen a lot of case reviews and whatnot, and they skip over a lot of stuff. Well, they go so fast that you can't remember it or whatever. You know, I try to slow mine down and make sure I'm getting the information across to you guys. The unboxing and overviews of the cases, especially the build videos, they really take a lot of time. Because a lot of times I mess up on what I'm saying or whatnot, and I got to record them 3 or 4 different times to be able to get it to go like I want it to go. You know, so I'm glad to see that, you know, there is some people out there that really enjoy what I do and think that I put out decent quality. And I do focus more on quality on my videos than I do quantity. Man, maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, but we'll get into that here in a little bit as well. Next on the hit list, we have Bruno Selvella, I guess the way you pronounce that. How to disable the onboard graphics on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard. He comes in with, what version of BIOS do you have? I actually had to look that one up this morning, and I actually went back through my videos, and I did that one after I did the BIOS update. So whenever I did the BIOS update on that, I went from F4 up to F31. So I believe when I did the disabling of the onboard graphics on that, I believe I was on F31. I can't be too sure on that. If you've watched my older content, I actually thought I bricked that motherboard and I ordered a new one. But I believe I was on F31 BIOS when I did that, when I did the disabling of the onboard graphics on the 2400G. So that's what I'm going to stick with, is the F31 BIOS. If you look at the BIOS for that particular motherboard, there has been quite a few improvements on it. Well, I need to support the BIOSes. My previous video, I went from F4 down here, and I went up to F31. So I'm going to assume that that's when that was the BIOS that I used in that video. I can't be too sure on that, but I believe so. I think I was on F31 at the time. Of course, I haven't done anything else with the motherboard. I think it stopped on F41 or something like that. What the motherboard's actually got on it right now. But yeah, I think I was on F31 for that video. Let's see if we had any more comments come in. That was the last one, which was Bruno, asking about the BIOS number that was on that when I did the onboard graphics disabling. So yeah, that's going to pretty well wrap it up for the Q&A, unless you guys have something in chat to ask me. Yeah, I'm pretty well wrap it up for comments and questions. As far as the channel goes, it's doing a little bit better this week than it was last week, I think. In the past 7 days, we've had 21 new community members. Welcome in. Glad y'all decided to join the community. I really appreciate that. I thought it was kind of funny. Who was it? At Galala Gaming, he said nice cable management. It's kind of funny that he mentioned the cable management in that video, because that's actually the video coming up this week. Did some research on YouTube, and there's quite a few videos about it, but it's also a highly searched term. It's how to do the cable management in a gaming PC. So that's going to be this week's video, coming up this week. I filmed most of it today, this morning. I'll do the rest of it this afternoon and tomorrow, and do the editing and everything else that needs done to it. It'll be coming out this Wednesday. So if you're interested, make sure you catch that one. It'll be up Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S. The views is... I don't know, the views for the channel is okay, I guess. I mean, they're about the same as they was last week. They're still down a little bit compared to what they normally was. But I guess you'll have slow times in YouTube like that. Like I said, the subscriber count's a little bit better this week than it was last week. So the community's definitely growing, which is a good sign. I'll take what I can get. Which I've said before, you know, whenever I started this YouTube channel, I didn't know how many people would watch me. I have updated my gear quite a bit, and I think I put a little bit of a different spin on the tech industry than what most has. If you haven't noticed, last week I actually streamed from the Cougar MG120G case because of the CSGO, streaming of the CSGO. This week I've added a few topics to the live stream. I think that's something that I want to start doing. You know, I want to start hitting different topics while I do the live stream, or maybe streaming some gameplay. You know, trying to mix it up a little bit better. I've been watching quite a few live streams or replays of live streams, because I really can't catch them when I need to be live in live streams. But you know, I wanted to kind of mix it up and kind of maybe get some more interest in the live streams, you know. Usually once the live streams go live as a video and they ain't being streamed at the time, they usually don't do very good for the channel. So I'm trying to mix that up a little bit. I'm trying to put a little bit of variety into the live streams here on the weekends. Let me know in the comments section below or over there in chat what you think. It's kind of, right now, computer hardware is kind of a hard topic to hit. There really ain't a whole lot going in computer hardware. There ain't a whole lot going on. So it's kind of hard to find topics to talk about. But that AMD versus Intel and the GPU prices is two big things that's going on right now in the tech, so I figured I'd cover it this morning. Then I still did my Q&A. That's one of the big reasons why I started the live stream, was to have more interaction with the community that I'm trying to build here. Which brings me up to my next point. I don't know how many of you'd actually be interested. But I've been thinking about doing like a Google Hangout or something. If you guys got a webcam and a microphone or whatnot, and you want to join me on live stream, which I got to look into Google Hangout, see how that would even work. But maybe have some of you guys join in the live stream live. Whenever you guys do your questions or comments or whatever, it's just something I'm kind of kicking around in my head. I don't know how it's going to work out. But, just to make it a little bit more interactive, it gives you guys a little bit more of a direct approach to me. Because I'm still a smaller YouTuber, I can still do stuff like that. So, I like to get as much interaction with my fans and the community as I can. That's something I'm kind of thinking about, kicking around in my head. Maybe doing something like that if you guys would be interested. I know a lot of people that watch YouTube videos don't want to be on YouTube. But, maybe some of you out there would be interested in something like that. As far as the topics and whatnot on the live streams, I plan on continuing that. Like I said, right now there ain't a whole lot going on in the hardware news. First comment of the day was actually about something that was tweeted. Maybe I'll look into that. But, it's just something I'm thinking about. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it. If that'd be something that anybody out there would be interested in, I'd still like to get into looking at some PC builds and whatnot here on the channel on the live stream. I don't think enough people actually watch me to get people that's interested in sending me pictures of the computers or whatnot. But, I've been thinking about just taking through Facebook Marketplace or something like that and finding some PCs to tweak. But like I said in the past live streams, I don't know about the legal proceedings behind that, if that's actually legal to do or not. And I definitely don't want to get in trouble. I get enough trouble other ways in life, let alone doing something like that. But, it's possible, I guess. I'm kind of thinking about it. Trying to figure out how to get it done without breaking any rules or regulations or laws. And I like to get into something like that. But I want to make the live stream more off the cuff. I want to do different stuff depending on the weekend, depending on, what's going on in the industry. I like to cover more topics. Just try to draw more interest into the live streams once they do go live as a video and people watch the replay of it, because they haven't been doing much for the channel as a live stream. A lot of times once they go live, they don't do very well. So maybe the topics and whatnot will help with that, I'm hoping. Maybe streaming some gameplay from time to time, just kind of mixing it up. That way it ain't the same old, same old. But that's kind of what's going on with the channel. But with that being said, I think I'm going to get out of here for this weekend. It is Saturday. I do have some other stuff I need to do. So yeah, I think I'm going to hang up this weekend, guys. You know, if you like this kind of content, go down and give me a like. If not, there's that dislike button, there's that comment section below. I'll go through them every weekend here on my live stream, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. And if you're interested, I'm also on Instagram or Twitter. I don't carry your inbox, but I do put up photos of new stuff coming up here on the channel. Or if there's any information about my live stream, if I got to change the time or cancel it, it's also where you get that information from. But with all that being said, you all enjoy the rest of your weekend. You have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video or live stream.